Hello everyone, hope all is well and welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a full face of Pat McGrath products. I'm really excited for today's video because I haven't done a one brand tutorial in so long, and this one is extremely special because it is sponsored by Pat McGrath. I cannot believe I just said that. I'm going to be doing a demo and sharing all my thoughts about the Pat McGrath concealer system that she just came out with. I've been testing out the system for around a month and I'm so excited to share my thoughts with you guys. I used that system every time I did my makeup off camera. I used it in a few Instagram photos without mentioning it. It is so good. So a huge thank you to Pat McGrath for sponsoring this video. I am so excited. So before we get into today's video, I would love for you to subscribe if you aren't already. It would mean so much to me, and let's get to it. So I have my moisturizer and everything like that down already. I'm just gonna jump right into it, and I'm first gonna start off with the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Primer. I've also been testing this one out recently and I really like how hydrating it is. It feels very silky, which is really nice. So I always concentrate it a little bit more in the center, then I'll kind of feather it outwards where I don't really need so much primer. I like it because it has hyaluronic acid, so I feel hydrated for the day, which is really nice. I have an oily to normal skin type, so I'm more oily in the center and normal around the outskirts. But I find with my oily skin, if I ultra hydrate it, I produce less oil, so I love more hydrating bases for that reason. And this one's so nice. So now I'm gonna go in with the Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation, and I'm using the shade Light 7. You guys already know how much I love this foundation. Ever since it came out, it's just been one of my top favorites. I love this foundation so much. It gives such a nice glowy natural finish to the skin. You can really build it up as well, but I prefer more of a lighter base personally. So I always go in with minimal product. And I really like this foundation because I really don't feel the need to set it, because it does have like self-setting qualities to it, which I really admire. I like to wear my foundations alone. I don't usually go in with setting powders too often. I'm now gonna go over everything with a sponge just to soak up any excess product and really press it into the skin for a really natural skin-like finish. Okay, so now it's concealer time, and I have been using the shade LM8. This bottle is so beautiful. It's glass, so it just feels so luxurious and heavy, and also makes me nervous because I'm a clumsy person, so I've always feared that I'm gonna drop it. So I'm always babying this concealer. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of that. I apply a little bit to begin with, just because it is very full coverage. I love this concealer because it's full coverage, but it does not feel or look like a full coverage concealer once it's under your eye. It has a very unique texture to it, but it's so good. It feels so lightweight under the eye and it just blends amazingly. I'm going to be showing you two ways. I'm going to be blending this side out with a sponge, which I usually do, just so I shear it out just a touch, since I do like to have more of a light coverage base. But I just wanted to show you with the brush that it comes with. I love this brush because it has such a unique shape to it. So it just really hugs your under eye, and it's super gentle, and you can kind of pat it out and kind of feather the edges out so seamlessly. And do you see how bright and covered that is? It is such a good brush, and I really like how it's small enough to get into this area. I always love to conceal this area just to really brighten up the eye, because if you have any remaining darkness in here once your eyes are all finished with eyeshadow and everything, it kind of tends to make your eyes look kind of closer together. I really enjoy this brush, and also for setting with powder, it's awesome because I always just set my fine lines under here, so I can really pick up the powder and place it so nicely under there. So now on this side, I'm going to blend it out with a sponge just to show you the differences. I'll give you a good zoom up as well so you can really see. Here's a close-up of each eye, so you can see on this side it's more of like a natural lightweight look, and here it's quite full coverage. So whatever you like, you can get from this concealer. It's so good, and you can tell that it's super undetectable as well. It just looks like skin under there. It has such a nice finish. It's such a natural matte look. It does have a little radiance in there, so it's very flattering, and I love it so much. So now I'm going to set my under eyes, and she also came out with under eye powder in the system, which I have been absolutely loving. You'll see I have like a little significant dent in it for only having this around for a month. It is so nice. She came out with 3 shades right here. So light, medium, and dark right here, which I did use this as a bronzer one day and it actually looked quite amazing. But I have been using the shade light and I really like going in with the brush that came with this, and it has such an interesting texture. Like, it's so finely milled and it does such a great job at really blurring the under eye and setting it so it doesn't crease at all. So I concentrate the most amount of powder right under right here, just where I have those fine lines that I don't want any concealer to be creasing in there, and I just kind of pat it in there. And I don't set the rest of the concealer. I always just set right here with a little bit of powder just for longevity purposes, because I love the finish of it as is. So I don't really feel like it needs powder to hold on. It just does a really great job at holding on by itself. But with that powder, it is so nice and soft and blurring. Like, when you feel your under eyes, it's like you're not even feeling your under eyes. It's so soft. So now I'm just gonna go quickly apply my brows and as well as some bronzer, and I will be right back. So please enjoy the brow intermission. So now I'm all bronzed and browed up. I'm now going to move on to the eyes. I'm going to hold off on highlighter just because I'm not sure which one I want to use, but later on I'm going to be using her beautiful highlighting palette. I'm just not sure what I'm going to be doing with the eyes fully yet, but for my eyes I'm going to be using the Midnight Sun palette, one of my favorite palettes I have in my collection. It is just so stunning. I think I want to do something a little bit spring inspired, so I think I'm going to dip into this shade, which I know you guys really want to see since I never really touch purples. I'm going to be using purples today. I don't know who I am, so I'm just going to prime my eyes, zoom you guys in, and we'll get to it. So I first put the shade Taboo in the crease. And then I went in with Extreme Dusk, which is the deepest matte shade in the palette. And I of course wanted to do something a little smoky. What kind of video would this be if it wasn't just slightly smoky? So I'm just gonna put this on the outer corner first on the lower lash line, just to kind of get this angle, because this is going to be the most flattering, kind of more cat eye shape for my eye shape. This is a great trick to get the correct angle for your eyes. And then I just took some and packed it on the outer corner right here, just to begin with, just because this is where I want it to be the most deep. And then I took this other small blending brush, and then I kind of slowly, softly blended this into that transition shade. And then I dampened this small brush with a little bit of setting spray just so I can get more precision with this shimmer shade on the lower lash line. I always do this just so that I don't get a bunch of shimmer in my contacts. So I just kind of tapped that shade on. I went in with the shade Blitz Violet Orchid, which is so pretty. And then I just blended it out like that. And then with this small brush again, I went in with some of the shade Taboo, the first transition shade, and I just brought that along the lower lash line just to really blend it out, make it look very seamless. And then I took my finger with that same violet shade, and then I just pressed it into this blank area right here that we left. Kind of doing pressing and tapping motions just so I melt this into the base so it grabs onto it even more. And that is such a pretty color, so beautiful. And then I took a fluffy brush with a little bit more of that, just to kind of scatter the shimmer and glitter, just so that we don't get like a super defined line of this shimmer. I just want it to be very diffused and effortless looking. And then the last thing I did, because I was looking at this highlighting palette and I really wanted to use this pink in the eye look, I thought it'd be a fun way to incorporate something a little bit different. So I took my finger with this pink shade and I just applied that right in the center just for a little bit more interest, and it kind of transformed that shade into something really pretty as well, added more dimension. The thing I love most about Pat McGrath eye products and products in general is that she offers so many different textures. So it's just so fun when you're creating an eye look to really layer all of those different dimensions and textures. So you get something super dimensional and unique. I love it so much. And then I took this tiny pencil brush with the same highlighting shade, applied that as my inner corner and brow bone highlight. It's such a unique highlighting formula. There's no glitter at all, and it's just such a natural sheen, but with such an unnatural shift. It's such a unique powder highlighting formula. Now I'm going to be going in with the FetishEyes mascara just to finish off the eyes. I love this mascara very much, and this mascara to me is very special as well because I actually did a sponsorship for this mascara when it first came out. That was the first time I worked with Pat McGrath, so to me this is a very special mascara. And it's also such an amazing formula. It just builds and builds and builds without it getting chunky or anything. It's so volumizing and lengthening. One of my faves. I always save it for special occasions just because it makes my lashes look so good. And now for my highlighter, I think I'm gonna just go in with the pink one just to kind of keep it cohesive, and I think it'll be a really fun twist. This is such a unique formula. It's insane how hot pink it is, the Reflect, without it having any glitter in it whatsoever. I'm gonna turn down the lighting on my camera so you can hopefully see what I'm talking about. It's so interesting. And look at the palette itself. Even when you look at the powders themselves, the way they reflect in the pan is so hypnotizing to look at. It's so cool. I am such a big fan of how this look is turning out. I feel like a little spring flower petal or something. But now let's finish it off with the lips, and I think I'm gonna first go in with this lip liner in the shade Contour. I love this color of lip liner because it is just like a perfect contour shade for your lips. So I'm just going to slightly overline them, and then we'll pick out a lip shade. Probably the nicest lip liner formula I've ever tried. It's so nice and creamy and glides on effortlessly. So good. I highly recommend this specific one. It's such a nice nude shade that goes with any lip color. So now I have these two lipsticks that I want to see if they'd go. I have a lot of res and really deep shades from Pat McGrath, but these are my only two that are kind of more spring appropriate as well as a little bit more of a softer color. I have one of her sheer color bombs as well as one of her matte trance lipsticks I have right here. So this one right here is this beautiful shade called Peep Show, and this balm shade is one of my favorites. I've shown this on my channel so many times, is Love Supreme. So I don't really know if I should go like the more peachy pinky route with the matte trance or the balm. I kind of feel like maybe the balm. Yeah, this is the perfect shade. I feel like it ties in the tone of the pink highlighter well as well. And it's also very hydrating and nourishing, and my lips are very dry today, so I think this is the correct route. I love how this turned out. So here is my full face done. I absolutely love how this turned out. The eyes turned out even better than I originally had in mind. I do have a code that you can use. It is Julia10 for 10% off on the Pat McGrath website, and that code will expire April 30th, just so you know. I will have all the products I used in today's video linked down below so you can check that out. But that is all from me today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and a huge thank you to Pat McGrath for sponsoring today's video. It means so much to me, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye.